I'm Andy. I teach mythology and folklore. Welcome to Tantalizing Myths. Last week's foray into Red Riding Hood was disturbing. No one wants to think about something like that happening to their grandma. But it opens up a greater discussion about the cautionary nature of this fairy tale. Whether we're dealing with a literal and supernatural, possibly a werewolf, which is specified in some versions, or a metaphorical wolf, the target of the wolf's appetites are women. We don't even need the moral for that determination, though our narrator is quite explicit about that. Talking to Red, distracting her, then eating Grandma and later Red, the wolf is after women. Sadly, the story also targets women. It blames them for what happened. First up, Red's mom, who sends Red to see how her grandmother is doing by herself, through the woods. Clearly not going to get any parenting awards for that one. Next up, Red took a roundabout way, entertaining herself by gathering nuts, running after butterflies, and gathering bouquets of little flowers. She exercised poor judgment both in talking to the wolf and in not sticking to her task. Also, Mom gets the blame because the poor child, who did not know that it was dangerous to stay and talk to a wolf, as Mom didn't teach her wolves could be in the forest. Now we have Security Theater Grandma, who literally instructs the wolf to pull the bobbin and the latch will go up. Not much in the way of pick resistance, and I'm sure the lockpicking lawyer would call this out as an unskilled attack. For reference, this bobbin was probably made from wood. Unless it's latched from the outside, it's probably some kind of spool attached to a string that would open up the interior bar latch from the outside. Interestingly, bobbins are also part of sewing equipment, which might indicate a sartorial connection to Red's iconic hood, but I digress. So the text calls out the actions of all three of the women. Notably, however, is any condemnation for the wolf's actions. Now, if our wolf is supernatural in some regard, this makes total sense. Whether fairies, trickster, deities, or a lycanthrope, they can't be reasoned with and have to be avoided and guarded against at all costs. However, if the wolf is a metaphor for a person, and the story's moral at the end calls out gentle wolves who are the most dangerous ones of all, then there should be condemnation for what the wolf does. There isn't. Instead, there's an expectation since it's been more than 3 days since the wolf had eaten. In a previous video, we talked about what kind of appetite this likely is. He wants sex. Shh, I might get demonetized. Instead of calling out the behavior, the wolf wins. Red and Grandma are devoured, either violated, dead, or both. Red's mom lost people she loved, and the wolf gets a happy ending. Yeah, I know, that sounds very, very wrong. But that's where Perrault ends it. The Grimms do introduce the woodcutter to rescue Red and Grandma, and even give a follow-up story where Red doesn't take her time and they lock the door so the wolf can't get in. But this still targets the blame for what happened on the women. Women must be on guard. Women must take care to protect themselves from these wolves. If not, well, society only blames them, not the wolf. The story doesn't even seek to offer any kind of correction for the wolf's behavior. As a cautionary tale, the story's text and end moral prescribe what not to do and what to do, but this is only aimed at women. Where is the same societal prescription for these charming wolves? What will society do to stop men from giving in to their appetites and control themselves? The story is silent on this. Instead, as suggested, men are characterized as animalistic and their appetites cannot be denied or controlled. Women must be responsible. It's a sad commentary that is tragically still alive today. In fact, there's another dimension of it that we'll explore in the next video. Thanks for joining me on Tantalizing Myths.